2 days, they give like 2 hour, 3 hour each day. So they are not used to take this kind of exam that they need to finish both math and English in 3 hours. This is the first time they're going to take this kind of competitive exam and the timed exam, right? So there's a 57 English question and they have to finish in 90 minutes, and 57 math, they could finish 90 minutes. And they could do whatever they like to start first, either math or English, so they're not going to be dictated, okay? If you look at the next page, is the cutoff score and the last year's acceptance score, okay? So if you could look at this, the Stuyvesant has 556 to 572. How do you get this score? So they're going to compute the score separately, one for math, one for English. So let's say if somebody get 15 math, and in the 50, it is approximately, let me see that page. It's been printed very lightly toward the one of the page here. It has to match with your first choice. Did I explain it properly or not? Okay, so matching is extremely, extremely important. Another thing I need to mention here, there's some seats has been allocated for Discovery Program. What is Discovery Program? If you live in a certain socioeconomic neighborhood, or if your income is below certain level, then the city keep those seats for those certain students, but it's not a lot. It's like a 50 to 100 seats for Discovery Program. They're going to say that, oh, your child has not been accepted for or offered for the specialist high school, but they have been qualified for the Discovery Program. They will go for 5 weeks of summer math and English program. After the end of this program, they will get into their school, either Bronx Science or Brooklyn Tech or Stuyvesant, whatever they put their first choice. Okay, but so anytime in March you're going to get your letter. So if you see they get accepted, well and fine. But if they did not get accepted, God forbid, please read it carefully. Let's see if they get qualified for Discovery or not. Okay. So as you can see, the Queen's Science 518 to 523 is same thing as Bronx Science. What I was trying to say, if you put Queen's Science number 1, then you should not put Bronx Science number 2, because both of them has the same cutoff score. If you didn't make one, you're not going to make.
How you used to choose the 12 school for the middle school, or something like this?
No, it's not. Because the top 10 or top 12 will give the choice for the regular admission. This is completely different. This is completely different than the specialist high school. Okay. For the general admission, they'll look at your average. They might look at your common core score, and based on that, they will do the lottery and they'll select you. But this exam is very, very crucial, because after you're done with the exam, you could challenge this score. You could go to the city, you could ask them, show me why my child didn't get it. So they are very, very, very organized, and the software they use, the computer software they use, is very, very accurate. Okay. So it's not like that regular admission. Okay. And by the way, if you have any question, please feel free to ask me, raise your hand, and I'll try my best to explain it. Yes?
This year, are they taking digital or paper?
Digital.
Okay.
Hopefully, well, they found some flaws in the digital. They're working on this. Hopefully it will be ready, but we're not sure yet.
Okay, I have a second question. The Discovery Program, do they offer for all the school or certain school, and how do they communicate to the parents?
Well, it's not all the school. If you live in a certain socioeconomic neighborhood, and then you could be qualified. Okay, so if somebody get 575, it's very close to the cutoff score. Let's say 585 could have been made in Latin. So 570 could be qualified to go to the Bronx Science. If you live in certain neighborhood, certain school, if your income is certain level, they can ask you to show your income. If your income is really high, you may not be qualified to go to the Discovery. Class যারা এসএটি দিচ্ছে, এবছর তারা নতুন করে একটা সিস্টেম ইন্টারনালি কম্পিউটার ডিসাইড ইস ডাইনামিক ওয়ে, যেমন এসএটি যেমন আগে ছিল স্ট্যাটিক, সবাই একই টেস্ট দিচ্ছে, রাইট? বা একটা ফর্ম আছে, ওই ফর্ম whatever the essays or articles are there is going to remain there. But what happened right now, the computer check your answer right away and could determine what's your strength in this comprehension. If you do really good, the next article they're going to give it to you is more challenging. And if you do the first essay, if you do poorly, that means the computer will know, oh, this kid is not strong enough. Let me give some little bit easier article for the next essay. So that's called adaptive. But for SSST, no, there's no adaptive. All the scores, how to convert. So early September or the first week of October, you need to complete your application. You register through the My Schools account, right? And you submit it there. And you could change your ranking anytime you want. Okay. And if you go into the public school, your test is going to be in your school. But if your kid's going to the private or Catholic school or charter school, then for the Queen's kid, they're going to go to the Long Island City High School. If you live in Manhattan, they go to the Stuyvesant. If you live in the Bronx, they go to the Bronx size. Otherwise, if you go into the public school, you will take the test in your own school. That is the very good thing the city did for the last few years, and they're going to continue to do this. Otherwise, all the kids has to go to Saturday morning one session, Saturday afternoon another session. It was very, very hectic. So the city did really good thing on that. And one of my kids got into Stuyvesant, Brooklyn Tech. Another kid also got into the Capstone. Another private school is $60,000 tuition fee. So $60,000. Also from Bronx, I have another kid got into Braley's Upper East Side, also one of the very, very good high school. You get full scholarship, 4 years, 4 times 6, $240,000 full ride. So you have to do your school guidance counselor really process all this application. You have to submit your, like it's, FAFSA, when your kids goes to the college, you have to submit all your income information, your asset, everything. So they're gonna check everything. If you feel like if you can also apply to the private school, you should try that. It's nothing wrong. Okay, some of the private school is really, really good.
It's a very similar test as well, the IC.
Yeah, IC is a little bit easier, I would say, than the specialist high school. Specialist high school exam is, to me, is more challenging than private high school exam. Okay.
And they have this
List of those private school. I'm not familiar with all of them, some of them I know.
I think, yes, I'm not also very familiar with this. The best thing should be talk to the school guidance counselor. They could provide list of the schools. It's not Catholic school, beside the Catholic school. Also, I would also recommend to keep an eye on Bard High School, even though they're public. Yeah, there's one in the Queens Boulevard on 31st Street. There's one in Manhattan, one in Bronx. So Bard also not bad. So I have few students who graduated from the Bard, got into the Cornell University. They did really good. For the math part, I reviewed all the math they need to know so far, but still you're going to keep working with the different topics in math. We're going to give the test, and we're going to see what they're having difficulties with. We're going to review the topic and giving the test simultaneously. In the summertime, we're going to do 4 times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, same times, 2 to 6 o'clock. And even after July and August, September, October, we're going to continue working 4 times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So Tuesday, Thursday is going to be 5 to 7 p.m. Okay, one day is going to be math, one day is going to be English. So we are doing our part a lot, but from the parent side, please make sure you guys need to sit down with them at least 2 hours each night. Okay, they're doing really good in math, but English they need to really improve. They're spending a lot of time into the TikToks and other device things or YouTube. So we need to be really strict. You guys are spending a lot of time and money for them. They need to understand that they need to be very focused for the remaining 4 or 5 months. Their Common Core is over. The school doesn't have any more pressure anymore right now. So they need to really focus on the specialist high school exam. So I would like to ask Mr. Scott to share any thoughts about English grammar because that's not been taught in this school. So how he's working on that?
Yeah, so the test, the English portion of the test is divided into 2 main parts. One part is the reading comprehension, and that is by far about 80% of the test, the largest part of the test. And then the other part of the test is grammar. There's 2 grammar sections. Most of the public schools in New York City do not teach grammar, so your children have had 0 grammar so far, unless they've had a foreign language yet. So we'll be covering that in class. We've already started it. We were reviewing it again. After we finish this, we're going to go back to reading comprehension and then come back to do more grammar. The problem with grammar is that as soon as they stop working with it, because they don't use it in school, it's gone. And then I come back, I start reviewing, and half of it's gone. So we just got to keep doing it, right? Keep working with it, and it'll stick eventually. The other half, of course, is reading, and that's really important. Still, but we have to read for an hour and a half, and then they're going to have a math test, which is still going to have word problems in reading, right? So we have to work on their endurance, okay? And if they don't, if they also can't read fast enough, that might be another issue. They might not be finishing the test, and if they don't finish the test, they can't get the maximum amount of points, and that's going to be an issue. Okay, so we need to have them reading as much as possible at home. They are going to be super lazy about that, though, right? They're used to being on their phones. They're not used to reading a lot. They're going to try things. They're going to try to reuse the book that they're using in school and say that's the book they're reading at home. But I want them to read a different book than they're reading at school, right? They're doing that with their teacher. Let's read a different book at home. I think the students should be reading 2 to 4 books per month. The author, and then there's the pages they read. They're supposed to get you to sign it. Then in the beginning of the month, which we're about to do again, they're supposed to bring it in and I'm going to sign it to confirm that they did that work, right? Because sometimes I see things that I don't want to see. For example, a student, we had the parent-teacher conference in the Bronx last night. Her family showed up. We talked about the reading log she wasn't doing. So today she brought it in. What did I see when I look at it? I see 1 whole month, starting I think it was 3/17 until now. 1 whole month, a little bit more, 1 book, right? That's not enough. Right? Why are we reading so slowly? Are we actually doing the reading? Right? It makes me question what's going on. So we need to make sure that they're reading. Something that's on grade level, maybe a little challenging if they're a strong reader. They're doing it consistently. I would say we want to try to build a habit. Just like waking up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you do it enough times, you don't think about it. Right? It's just a good, positive habit. Reading should be the same way. We pick a time, maybe after dinner, maybe before bed. We read at that same time, 1.5 hours to 2 hours every night if we can. All right, that starts building a positive habit, and then they're going to be reading without thinking about it, right, and building those skills. And many of your children are actually very strong readers in this classroom. They're doing well in terms of their reading. Be working on with reading comprehension, but those reading skills are fundamental. Reading endurance so that they can last the entire time of the test, right? Reading fluency, building vocabulary. A lot of the students are used to, like Mr. Mahmood said, used to reading things on the internet or TikTok, and they read little blurbs or text messages, and they're not reading longer form works. Also had a student last night ask me if graphic novels are okay. No, right? Graphic novels have a lot of pictures, and we need words. Okay, so we need to make sure they're doing that. The only other thing I'd say is homework. Want to make sure that they're doing their homework. I'm a little strict about that. In math, it's very common to hear a math teacher say to show your work, right? Because they want to see all that on the paper. I don't want to just give me the right answer. I want to know how you got to that right answer. I want to see your thought process. Well, I want to see that too, but that's going to be on the paper, right? Especially for reading comprehension. I should see the passages marked up, right? I should see the thinking process going on when I'm looking at their writing, or sorry, what they're reading, okay? And you can do that too. Even if you don't know what the right answer is, or if they've done all that work, you can look at the passage and see if they've marked it up, okay? Whether there's circles, or stars, or underlines, main ideas by every paragraph, okay? So I require all of that to be done for the homework to count, all right? So sometimes people might say, I did my homework, but I don't just want answers circled, A, B, C, or D. I want to see why you're choosing these things, okay? So I think that's important too. We want to make sure homework's being done. We do have some lazy kids sometimes. And we want to make sure the reading is being done. And I think that's it for me. Those are the 2 main parts of our test. So
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Let's say Kaplan, Barron's, all those books, Tutorverse. At least you need to buy 5 to 6 books. But most important books, yes, from the Tutorverse and other books, you could practice the reading comprehension, the grammar section. But you could download this handbook. It's free from the New York City Board of Education, right? If you go to one of the websites, it's called admissionsquad.org. It's like a free website. You have 30 free SSSAT student handbooks since 2008 till 2024. So you need to search simply SSST handbooks. Just write SSST handbooks in the Google search bar and look for the admission squad. And if you could make sure your kids practice from this book each night, one day math, another day English. Okay? Even for the last 5 years, if they could get, let's say one of the tests I reviewed today, for the last 4 or 5 years, if they could thoroughly understand this, each and every single problem from here, I could guarantee that they're going to make it. Right? Not memorizing it, but understand. Because it has geometry, solving equations, and the real exam is pretty similar. I talked to all my students, not all, many students. So this one is what, 2019-20. Every year they change the front page and also change the content inside. Okay. So if you look at my laptop, so this if you could see some of them. So every year, 1 year is purple and 1 year is blue, 1 year is red. So every year they different. So let's see if you do 2015-16, right? You just click on this, it will come up that year handbook, right? So you could download this on your computer, and everybody should have a laptop or desktop for the education purpose. Beside this kind of digital material, you know that I assigned Delta Math homework.
Yeah.
And I'm going to share with you when I'm going to sit with you one-on-one. You also need to complete the Delta Math homework. Okay. So, because sometimes some of the math, maybe I'm making copies from bell curve or some other source or Kaplan, but it may not be enough. So what I do, I assign the similar work from the Delta Math. I teach in high school for the last 20 years, so I use the Delta Math for my calculus, for my pre-calculus and algebra 2. They also have 7th grade, 8th grade algebra 1 geometry also. So I use those materials and assign the Delta Math. Please make sure to complete the Delta Math homework. I'm going to share with you guys.
Read book for like English grammar, but here I don't understand like which book I should buy. Like
Yeah,
which one
there's
is
not a
actually-
standardized book for English grammar because again, most schools do not teach it here, right? It's not explicitly taught.
But any book.
Well, you could still buy it if you go to the Amazon or Barnes & Noble website, because there's not physical store anymore. I mean, there's a few. So you could search it English grammar for 7th grade. They have a subject-verb agreement, the past tense, all the auxiliary verb, they have practice. So maybe you could practice from there. In Bangladesh, I know Mr. Scott, get familiar. We had one subject for reading comprehension English 1, and then another is English grammar. We used to have 2 different classes. So we used to take for 9, 10, 11, 12, those 4 years, we used to have both reading comprehension and the grammar separately. But also beside English, we also have the same thing in Bengali. So, but yeah, this country, they don't have, they have only one class, either English or Spanish, not the grammar separate. Okay.
For the grammar and English, right, are you assigning them reading as well as the homework to do?
Yeah, so I'm not assigning the reading log, I'm letting them choose that for themselves. But I do assign, so my usual assignment is Saturday night. I know they don't have a lot of time until the next day. So, they finish here at 6 o'clock and they go home and I eat, and then they've got to do that work that night or the next morning for Sunday, right, before they come in. So I usually give a shorter grammar work on Saturday, and then I give longer reading comprehension over the week.
So is it like daily they can practice, or is something that they can finish quick?
Well, I mean, the grammar's going to be shorter. It's going to be a review of what we've done in the classroom. That's going to be Saturday night. And then sometimes I do give a longer grammar packet over the week, but usually it's reading comprehension. We have nonfiction, we have poetry, and we have fiction that we have to cover. So I try to cycle between those 3 things over the week.
And since you are experienced more than most of us, the parents, is it possible to give them a list of books that they can read to make it easier?
Sure.
I mean, I've been through school a long time ago, but it's much more easier when I get suggestion from school to help my child.
Yeah, absolutely. I can give a book list to the kids. Sure.
Yeah, so they can purchase.
So from my side, for the book, let's say we're going to have the Barrows, Kaplan, then Bell Curve, then Ivy Prep, and Tutor Verse. So maybe I'm going to make the list of these books and you could order them. So again, Tutor Verse, Ivy Prep, Barrows, Kaplan, and the Bell Curve. Bell Curve is one of the best book. Okay, it has more example, more details, worksheet, lot more worksheet than any other books. This book is very brief, but the Bell Curve I'm going to have to order especially. Okay, so I'm going to order them separately, and each book is going to cost around $35–40, but it has more materials. Okay.
But does bell curve has the answer in the back?
Yes.
Because, like I did a long time ago for my daughter. It was
Yeah, you
didn't
can take
have
out those
answer.
answers from the back, right?
Oh, it does.
But yeah, you can rip them out, you can cut them out, and let them practice.
Okay.
Okay.
So you give us the list to order.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
If there's no other question, maybe we're gonna sit down one at a time. Somebody could sit with Mr. Scott, somebody will sit with me, and we'll share their progress. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, one more. So, you know, like, since they're gonna do digital, are they practicing in your class when they take exam?
Well,
Because that'll
look,
give them big
I understand
hands-on.
the frustration. Look, they're also taking the common core in the laptop.
Yeah.
So digital does not mean that it's going to be way different. Yes, like the hand packaging would have been way better, but it's still they could highlight there, they could annotate there, they could do their work there, and they're going to get the scrap paper on the side.
Okay.
So it's not going to be a big deal. Okay.
But let's say, you know, they finish the exam and then that they have more time.
Out of 57, 50 of them are multiple choice. Only 7 questions are from the beginning. They have the grading questions, right? The first few is going to be graded. Also in the SAT exam, from 58 to 62 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions is going to be graded. Like they have to show the work and write down the answer. But rest of them is A, B, C, D, or E, F, G, H.
I'm a little worried because
83.
her math score
Very
is
consistent.
better than her English, so she's doing better in math.
English is 1200.
And that's another thing I probably should have said to everybody, is if you're doing better on one of the sections, I would try to max out that section. She's turning in most of her homework, but her grades are coming in a little low. So right now, our top tier students, the top ones are in the 70s.
She did
And that's
54% of
doing
my
really
math.
well. Okay, in Bronx it's 60s, but she's about 42. So we need to definitely make sure she's doing that reading, she's doing all the work, she's doing everything. Okay?
তখন 54 is really really good score. এটা যদি সে ধরে রাখতে পারে সে 3টা অঙ্ক মাত্র ভুল করছে সে স্ট্যাবিলিটি স্কোর পাস ম্যাথের জন্য যদি ইংলিশে যদি সে 7 পায় then definitely she will make it.